Hey everybody. So I want to introduce to you the Hummingbird today. So there's two versions. Hummingbird is this robotics platform. All these things that look like Legos are easy ways to attach all the different things to it. And then this is a microbit. This is kind of the brains of the operation. It's actually a small computer. It has buttons on it, has a display that can scroll letters across it, has multiple things to hook stuff up to it. There's the actual processor, reset button. That's where you plug in the USB cord, and it has all kinds of sensors. It knows which way it's facing, just like a smartphone. And it can also sense temperature, direction, if it's shaken, all those kind of things. That goes in here like this. There's two versions of this, the Hummingbird Duo, which is the older and larger version. And then there's the Hummingbird Bit. This is a little more compact, looks a little bit different, has a brightly colored bottom. It might be yellow, it might be purple or orange. So these are the two different versions of the Hummingbird that you might use. So to connect these to anything, first you need a USB cable, and the USB cable goes into the end of the microbit, same on both models. And then that plugs into here. You can tell that there's already some sound on there that runs whatever the program that was just there. It gets power and it gets information through this USB cable. The other thing is you can connect these. This is an LED, so a light emitting diode, basically a little light bulb. And some of them have, most of the things that you need have either 2 or 3 wires, some have 4. And the way you connect them is they have these little clamps. This, for example, these are a little too short. So sometimes if they get cut off or if they're too short, you can ask me, and I can show you how to use the wire strippers to basically expose a little bit more of the wire. That way it's easier to put, and then give them a twist after you do that, because it's many little fibers of wire together. Twist them up so they're all unified. And then the wires are usually color-coded. There's usually a black wire and then some other kind of wire. Since this is a yellow LED, the other color wire is yellow. The way you put in any of these wires into the clamps are like this. You have this thing called a terminal tool. It's for pushing in these little spring-powered clamps. So you go, this is LEDs. There's 4 slots. Each one has a plus and a minus. So the black wire is always minus. So if I go to LED 1, I'm going to remember that number because I'll need it in a second. The black wire, you push out down the spring, black wire goes in, and then if you give a gentle pull, it should not come out. Push down this spring, push it in. So that is now attached. That's the same with any of these. You're going to need to remember that because that's on port 1, LED 1. This shows if it's connected to the computer. This is green. You may start having problems if it is flashing green, like kind of on and off. So then you need to restart everything. This orange one shows if it's enough power to run motors. There's different types of motors. They're here. These motors go round and round in a circle. They're called gear motors, and these are called servo motors. These have 2 wires, these have 3. And it says here, put the negative wire here, the positive, and the S, which is signal. And on this side, it has the colors blue, red, black, red, and yellow, in case you forget. Okay, so now what we're going to do is take and go to a new tab on Google Chrome. And then we're going to go to the Google Classroom site, because first time around you need the right extension for your board. There's two different versions of it. So you'll go here, and yours will look a little bit different, but it says Hummingbird extension for the older board, which is this one, the Hummingbird Duo. That's the top one. And Hummingbird extension for the newer one, Hummingbird Bit with the brightly colored bottom. That's the second one. So right now I'm using the Duo. So I will click here, and then it will go into make code. So your screen should look like this. It takes a second to load. You may have seen this before. Some people have used the microbit in lower school, and so you have this, and it works on the make code website. There's a set of blocks here that are not basic blocks. They are extensions. They're called Hummingbird. Make sure your view has Hummingbird on here. And if it says get sensor on port 1, this block as the last block, you know it is for this one. If it has anything else, like I believe it says light sensor, then that is for the other one. Okay, make sure we're going to have both types possibly in use, so you have to use the right one. Okay, now first things first, we want to stay organized. There is no way to sign in because for security reasons, sign into the site is blocked from school. So what you're going to do is you're going to go here and go to the Share tab. We're going to call this First Project. Share it. And then this is how you're going to save your progress. Hit copy. And then you need to make a new Google Doc. So docs.new. And you're going to name them all the same way. You're going to go RZ for Robotic Zoo, Team Design Journal, and your class, so 7T, and then your table, okay, whatever the group is. Then I'll copy this. Make it big, go to title, boom, and then today's date. And then code from today. It's still stored in there, so actually it's not still stored in there. So we're going to go back here, get that link again, copy. And you have to do this at the end of class. Boom. Okay, so now that's stored. So every day at the end of class, once you've actually built stuff, you need to do this. Copy it into the team journal. And then I'm also going to share this you're going to share this with me, Mr. B, and then all the people in your group. You're actually going to type their names, okay? But you got that. So if we go back here, this is where we do the programming. So you have all the blocks here. These are menus for blocks. Basic has showing things like numbers, lighting up the LEDs, the forever and start, clear screen, and pause. And then the Hummingbird, and there's others, input, control the buttons. Music, you could actually make it play notes. Radio is, you can have a radio control, loops for repeating things. Logic is when it makes decisions like if, then. Variables, you make a variable to hold a number. Math is if you want to calculate something. So Hummingbird, we're just going to play with this. So you're going to pull out, set LED on port 1 to 0. So this is the brightness. So you can have it all the way bright, or you can have it down to 0. 0 is not on at all. And so this is what I was saying before when you need to remember which port it was on, because it can be one of 4. We plugged ours into port 1, if you can see that. So that's where we're going to leave it. So now I'm going to plug the USB back into the computer, and you're going to want to pair these. It works a lot easier when the microbit is paired with the computer. And here's how that works. Shh, that's going to be annoying. You have to get rid of that ASAP. So what you do is go here, and then we're going to pair it. So I'm going to move this out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. So click for one-click downloads, yes. And then you're going to say connect device. Yep, did that. Hit pair. And then it says BBC Microbit CM Sys DAP. You're going to click on that, say connect. And then this little sign here. You know you're connected and paired when you have this little logo, which is the microbit logo, the little robot eyes there. So I want this to download. When it's downloading, you should see a little yellow light flashing. If you can actually see it maybe. Okay, that yellow light means that the code is going onto the microbit. You're also well connected. You want to make sure this green status light is solid green and not pulsing. Okay, so the code should be loaded. Let's hit download again just to make sure.